Hey guys, Helen Hartsmith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel, coming at you with another crystal Rocks 101 video. Today I want to introduce you to one of my favorite crystals that's out there. It's an amazing stone, and I can't wait to share it with you. Introducing Super 7. Ooh. So normally a video like this, I would start right in with the crystals and start with the show and tell. However, there's so much to cover with Super 7 that I really wanted to get a chance to kind of go deep and tell you where you can find it, like where does it come from, what its individual meanings are, and all of that kind of stuff before really kind of getting into the specimens that I have, okay? So Super 7 is also known as Sacred 7 or Melody Stone, and it's found in one very small mine in Espírito Santo, Brazil. One small mine, and I've heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that the mine has actually been closed, and so it's been getting even harder to get Super 7. So if you get a chance to find something, then you might want to snatch it up. Because it's rare, it tends to be on the more costly side of things. And so the specimens that I've had, I've been really careful about the pieces that I've purchased. And so some of them aren't exactly like the best specimen. Like my sphere isn't the best version of Super 7, the most clear that I've seen, but it was something that I could afford. So sometimes when purchasing your crystals, you have to kind of take that into consideration as well, okay? So Super 7 is actually made up of 7 different crystals, and that's what makes it so unique. That's what makes its healing properties so incredible, okay? So I have to give a warning right now. I am not a geologist. I don't know everything that there is to know about rocks and crystals or the study thereof, and more importantly, I'm not always the best at pronouncing things. So I'm going to do my best and ask you to just kind of bear with me, okay? So the 7 materials that make up Super 7 are Goethite, Cocoxinite, Rutile, Lepidocrocite, Amethyst, Clear Quartz, and Smoky Quartz. So some of you are probably going to be familiar with some things on the list, not so familiar on some of the others. So I thought what I would do, let's break them down and talk about each component separately, and the magical / healing correspondences that go with each of the 7. And then I'll move into showing you the specimens that I have and talk to you about how I use Super 7 as a whole, okay? So the first one that I want to talk about is Goethite. So Goethite is a brown, black, or yellow brown mineral. Doesn't really sound very pretty at all, does it? But it's really good for communication. both physical and spiritual. It mainly occurs in fibrous crystals, and it's made up of oxyhydroxide iron. Say that fast 5 times, because apparently I had trouble with just getting it out once. So the second material is the cacoxenite, and that is a yellow, orange, green, or brownish hydrous iron phosphate mineral that grows in more fibrous bunches. It's not a suitable gemstone in and of itself, but it's seen as inclusions in a lot of clear crystals, which is kind of interesting. As far as magical properties for cacoxenite, getting there, it's thought to raise spiritual awareness and a sense of divine purpose. So that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. Third on the list is rutile. And this is probably one of the ones that are kind of like middle of the road as far as like, have you heard it or not? Rutile is a mineral that's made up mainly of titanium dioxide. It's another material that we mainly see in inclusions in a lot of quartz. And also topaz. It is golden, reddish, black, or other colored inclusions, and they're usually going to be labeled as like a rutile quartz. I'm trying to think if I have a rutile quartz, and I might have a point. I will take a look really quick before we go down and take a look at my Super 7 specimens. And if I have one, I'll include that just so you can kind of see it. Magically speaking, rutile is said to be an energizer and a harmonizer, which is kind of nice when it's paired with the clear quartz, because that just kind of heightens the clear quartz properties as far as I'm concerned. It also amplifies the powers of, well, I guess I said that. It heightens, if it's in a stone, it heightens the properties of that stone. You get what I'm saying? Number 4 is Lepidocrocite, and it's also known as esmeraldite or hydrohematite. This crystal, or this mineral, is a deep red or red-brown mineral, and it has the same chemical formula as the goethite, but a different crystal structure. Sometimes reddish quartz inclusions can actually be hematite. There's a little inside geography something. Lepidocrocite is believed to aid in communication and understanding, especially between lovers. It also has calming hyperactivity qualities, and has been known to block negative energies. Okay, so that's number 4, and those are probably the 4 that are the most, like, they're not ones that I knew like off the top of my head. So let's get into the 3 that most of us are probably pretty familiar with. The first one being amethyst. We all know amethyst. It is that beautiful purple stone that ranges from fairly clear in some cases, or a very, very light purple, up through dark purple, and there's actually even green amethyst that's known as priasolite. And I do have some priasolite samples. I'll cover that in another video, because it's kind of interesting. Priasolite is a pretty it can be a popular gemstone that you might find in a jewelry store. So that's kind of cool. So Purple is the purple amethyst. It comes from iron and aluminum sources within the rock, within the crystal. And amethyst is known to enhance cognitive ability and is recommended for creativity and focus. I also really like to use amethyst for focusing specifically on spiritual work. So work that I'm doing on my path spiritually. The next one is clear quartz. Clear quartz is known for amplifying existing energy and opening the mind and heart. And so it's also, it's kind of like your go-to quartz or your go-to crystal for a lot of magical purposes. And last we have smoky quartz. So smoky quartz would be quartz that has that that smoke to it. It's going to be either a really light gray in color up through pretty black in color. Smoky quartz is probably one of my favorite quartzes just because the look of it can be so different, but I really like working with it in general. So smoky quartz is associated with magic. Smoky quartz and labradorite for me are magic stones and things about, it's kind of like those things that you would include in any kind of crystal magic work when you weren't sure like what else to do or to use. And it also, they like, what's the word I want to say? It amplifies your magic in general. It also has grounding qualities because it's that black stone. So it has grounding and protective qualities, especially against negative energy, and it also assists in healing. Okay, so that's what Super 7 is made up of and how each of those 7 minerals work separately. Let's take a look at what they look like when they're all together and how you can use Super 7 in your magic and in your healing. Okay guys, so here are the 5 pieces of Super 7 that I have. Most of them are pretty much in a raw shape. I might have like another small tumbled piece somewhere, but that's okay. It would be like really hard to make out any details for it anyhow. So what I have here is 3 pieces that are basically raw. Points, all of them are points, and then I have 1 slab here, and I will kind of lift that up so you can see how thick it is. Just about a 1/4 of an inch or so in thickness, and then I have the sphere. So let's start with what's probably like the least interesting piece, and this one right here. So one thing that I should point out when it comes to Super 7 is that, remember when we were talking about how like what these different minerals were made up of? There was a lot of red, a lot of brown, and of course the smoky quartz is going to add that black smokiness to the specimens. So this one here, as you can see, is mostly made up of our purple amethyst with some hints of clear quartz as we get down here to the actual point. So this one, you can see like a little bit, maybe, I don't know how well it's going to actually pick up on camera, but we've got a little bit of like oranginess that could be some of those other elements, or it could just be, dirt kind of thing. But this is, like I said, probably the most unremarkable specimen that I have, but it still holds the power of Super 7. So don't let its lack of color for other parts take away from the power that's capable from these stones. Okay. Let's move on to this one. This one is actually my most recent procurement, I guess. So this is actually a pretty cool specimen. See how we have that reddish, brownish, almost muddy look to the point there? That's, in my understanding, that's a really good specimen. And then and again, not sure how well this is picking up on camera, but you can see the purple of the amethyst. And of course, there's a lot of darkness to this particular specimen. So you're definitely picking up the smoky quartz. One thing that you're not really seeing is the rutile in this particular specimen, but I was really loving the quality of this for the price. I always try to tell you guys prices of what I pay for stuff just to kind of give you an idea. I don't remember what I paid for this first one, but I was really surprised that this guy was only like in the $10 mark. I thought that was exceptional for the size and getting some of those the redness and the smoky quartz that don't always show up very readily in these specimens. So I was pretty happy for that. And then this one here, this one is probably like my favorite, specifically because it'll stand, albeit on an angle by itself. But again, we're seeing here that reddish, brownish tip. I love how squat it is. And I love that, again, we're seeing those smoky quartz qualities in the crystal. Little harder to see any purple hints in person, and definitely not seeing rutile and things like that. But this was probably the first piece of Super 7 that I purchased. And I want to say that this guy was probably right around that $15 to $20 range. So again, another a good price for the size of the specimen. And I like to see the reds. I like to see the reds on the tips like that, especially in these raw forms. So that's like a favorite of mine. I'm actually going to save the slab to talk about that last. And let's move on to the sphere. I do believe I shared a picture of this on Instagram, like when I first purchased it. This sphere, I was so giddy to find this sphere, mostly because to find a Super 7 sphere this size, you're easily looking at $100. I'm not gonna lie. This is a pretty sizable crystal or sphere, and to see them at rock shows, things like that, they're gonna go for about $100. Your good specimens that you see the rutile in, that you see the red hints in, and stuff like that, I've seen those go for as much as $250 and $300. And they were spheres that were about this size or maybe a little larger. So this one, I'm trying to remember, I'm pretty sure that I paid about $60 for this. And again, it's about knowing your budget and knowing what you can afford. But I remember the first time when I picked this up out of the case, I was shocked by the energy that was coming off of this. And I knew that I had to have it. I think there was actually another sphere. I bought this at Earthlore in Plymouth, Michigan. I believe there was another sphere that was slightly larger and therefore a little bit more expensive, but still within my budget. And I went with this one anyhow, just because of the reaction, and it for sure wanted to come home with me. So again, we have our obvious crystal quartz, clear quartz areas. We obviously see our purple, and we've got like these beautiful bits of black in there, but I can see some of the inclusions that I think could be considered rutile. They kind of have a little bit of a flash in them when you move them around. I don't know if that's really picking up on camera or not. But like I said, it's not a great specimen, but it definitely wanted to come home with me, and I definitely wanted to have it come home with me. So I love that. So before we get to the last piece that I have here, the slab, let's talk about how magically you can use Super 7 when it's all together like this. This is going to be a stone of power. This is going to be a stone that heightens. It's got that clear quartz aspect that's going to amplify other stones that it might be working with. It's going to amplify your intention. I look at it really largely for the power boost that it can give, but it also has psychic development qualities that that when you pair that along with power, can be pretty pack a punch. Psychic protection, because we've got the smoky quartz aspects. Psychic protection would also be like a really great use for this particular stone. Because there are 7 minerals that go into making the Super 7, there's so much that you can use it for. Healing, grounding, clairvoyance, clairaudience, telekinetic pursuits. So if you're interested in developing any of those psychic abilities, like I talked about, first off, this is going to be a stone that you might want to think about working with. Universal creativity, your own personal power, your own intuition, spiritual grounding. It purifies and balances and energizes all the chakras all by itself. And I love that specifically. So you're probably wondering, well, Helen, why you got your phone sitting there? Well, I wanted to use it to hopefully, I'm hoping that this is going to pick up, to show off some more of the details from this particular slab. So I'm going to bring that closer. So I hope you can see this. So this is a slab that's still retaining its raw edges along the edge of the slab. So again, we're seeing our clear quartz in here. We're seeing our purple amethyst. We're seeing a lighter gray of the smoky quartz elements, but you can really see the rutile in this particular piece. This is probably the best quality piece that I have in terms of seeing the layers, and I think that can be attributed to the fact that it's a slab and you can see through it, and so that's why I wanted to have that light source behind it. It's gorgeous, right? I love the energy that comes off from all of these pieces, and yeah, that's why it's one of my favorites. So I hope that you enjoyed looking at the Super 7 with me. I know that I have for sure seen, better, prettier pieces on the market, but I'm here to tell you that I've handled them, and I've handled these, and these guys obviously wanted to come home with me. And as I've said before, it doesn't take away from the magical properties that come with using this stone. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at Super 7 with me today. If you did, if you enjoyed the video or learned something from it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I love doing these crystal videos. I'm just trying to like stretch them out a little bit because I could do, you know, a crystal video every week. Trying to hold myself back there. But if there's a crystal that I haven't covered that you want me to cover, then let me know and I can bump it up on the list. I will also put a link in the description box. I have a playlist for all of these crystal videos that I've been doing. So if you're interested in learning more about more beautiful rocks, then take a look at that. And I would encourage you to let me know, have you worked with Super 7? Have you heard of Super 7? Is it something that you're interested in? Yes or no? Let me know. I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for taking the time to walk the path for a little while with me. And until next time, blessed be.